God, like, what are we doing?
Corey Graves, the ignorant slut, cannot pronounce the word coup de grace. He says coup de grace.
Welcome back to This is a Takeover. My name is David Hensley. I'm the owner and creative director of Long Walk Productions, and I am here to introduce your host, Shelby Death Ray Patterson.
Hello and welcome everyone to This is a Takeover. I'm Shelby Ray Patterson.
Hey y'all, hey, and I'm Gina Belmont.
And we are going to talk about NXT Worlds Collide, the first NXT takeover in the new Triple H era.
Oh.
And it's such a relief.
When
we sat down to watch this, guys, like it was, I don't know, before we even got started, it was just such a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
Right? Because we sat down and we just knew that it was going to be maybe a little bit better than it has been.
There was hope.
Yeah.
You know,
for the
it was
first
that
time.
feeling of oh man, this could be good. What's going to happen? And then, of course, they go ahead and start it off with the match we were most excited about. So I was already yeah, there's hope. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was great. So we're just going to jump right into it.
We're so excited.
We only have 5 matches to cover, guys.
Yeah.
Which is pretty awesome compared to the amount of content that you just listened to the other day.
My goodness.
15 matches, that's insane. David, I commend all 3 of you for getting through all of that.
Oh, don't commend me. I did not get through all of it. Unlike a lot of Americans, I had to work on Monday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So by the time 10 o'clock hit and the pay-per-view was only half over, I was like, I love you guys. I'm out. I
That's
can't do
right.
this.
Because you left after Swerve in Our Glory, right?
Yes.
Okay, you were fine. You were fine then. You didn't need to see. I mean, it was fine. But
Yeah, I had that feeling.
And also, I'm resisting the urge so hard to talk about CM Punk, but I'm not going to do it.
Not our topic.
It's not, because I feel like Dogs and Chris really got into it, but there's a lot more that's happened. But
it's
who
fine.
knows?
It's fine.
Maybe Dogs and I can do a whole nother separate episode just on that.
I mean, truthfully,
Yeah. I think it can happen.
I think that in a couple of years, that's going to be something that you guys talk about on Rewind.
That's true.
As in, this was crazy pivotal moment for wrestling for AEW.
Yeah, true.
So
NXT. We are going to be a nice palate cleanser for you with only 5 matches to talk about, but they were all pretty good.
Yes.
So we have the North American Championship with Carmelo Hayes and Ricochet.
Oh, gosh. I love that, man.
When we saw that Ricochet just appeared on NXT, I was like, oh, okay, this is a fun, one-off thing that they're going to do, because they've been doing that or trying to do that with NXT for a little bit.
To have not celebrity comebacks, but you know what I mean?
Kind of what it feels like
a little bit, but only it would be weird if they weren't NXT people, when Dolph came.
Yeah, that was really
weird. That was weird, But with Ricochet, it's no, he was in NXT. That makes sense, a lot of these...
He actually was a North American champion.
What a concept.
Yeah.
What a concept.
So we have Ricochet come back for this match, and y'all...
Guys, this was...
It was... I wrote this down. It was only 15 minutes.
Are you serious?
15 minutes, almost 16 minutes. Yeah, 15 minutes and 57 seconds.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but it felt like I could have watched that for the entire 2 hours.
They said fight forever twice. They started the chant twice in 2 separate parts of the match. And I agreed with every single one of those people chanting and cheering, because this is the Ricochet that we know and we love. This is the Ricochet who, Tony Hawk video games could never.
He's a Tony Hawk cheat code.
That's exactly what he is.
It's a cheat code glitch in the game. I don't know what the actual term is, but whatever it is, he is it. Right?
Up, down, left, right, BA, start.
Exactly.
That is Ricochet.
And I feel like putting him with Carmelo was such a good choice, and someone that I didn't think about.
Well, when we watched Carmelo early on, he had the makings. And it was starting a little bit with his high-flying stuff, but he didn't really embrace it. because that's when NXT 2.0 and all that happened. So
He was one of the first people to kind of come up in that.
he was. And so it didn't really stay because then he kind of was the powerhouse and kind of got put into, oh, he's bigger, therefore.
Which I think he still technically is, but I think this match brought out some of the high-flying stuff that
Yes.
he can do.
He's a very flexible performer and wrestler. And I think that that's important to be, especially when you're young, like so young in the business, because then it's like your opportunities are endless.
Well, yeah, because
You can do whatever.
they did that one spot where they did the springboard crossbody.
If there had been a mic in that house when we watched that, we would have blown off the roof.
Well, because I had told Gina when we were watching it, you see that spot be done a lot when it's just a regular crossbody.
Oh yeah,
right?
they run at each other. Big meaty
and
men.
Usually it is after they've done a few other things that kind of mirror each other.
And
And
it
they did
almost-
that. They led up to that. They did a few like forearms that were hitting each other at the same time.
Yeah.
A few punches, and then all of a sudden they run to opposite ends of the ring and do a springboard crossbody across and meet in the center of the ring.
Oh my gosh.
And I think the roof almost went off my house.
Yeah, we screamed so loud.
It was great. You saw Ricochet being Ricochet, which I feel like we haven't seen
Yes.
in a really, really long time, because I think Vince only saw him as this like one note, like all he can do is flips and shit. Right? Which he can do that.
He does them very well.
But he also can like call a match.
Yes.
And that was very evident in this. And like you could tell that they rehearsed probably a little bit beforehand, but I really feel like going back and watching it again, I feel like he called a lot of stuff.
You think so?
Yeah.
Because we had talked about this, because I talked about this in the moment with you when we were watching it, but that'll be more in depth with the Mandy Rose and the other match later.
Right.
But because I felt like they had the opportunity to practice to get so in sync, but I mean, I give them more props if that was them calling on the fly and being able to know each other and work that well together.
Well, I think it was a good mix of both.
Yeah.
I think they were like, okay, we definitely want to hit this, and this is how we do that.
Yeah. I mean, especially if they've never worked together.
Yeah.
I definitely think that they, just messed around in the ring.
Well,
just
I mean,
to see.
who knows? I mean, all of these guys have worked together in some
And I'm sure they
capacity
trained
outside of
and-
WWE.
yeah.
I mean, Ricochet was
Prince
all
Puma.
over the planet at one point.
Oh my gosh.
So he could have worked with anybody. But basically, the finish, I would say, if you have to watch one match, it would be this one.
That one.
So the finish on this one is Ricochet goes to the top rope to do his finisher, which I can't remember the name of it, but it's a lot of flips.
Doing flips and shit.
And Carmelo rolls out of the way like at the very last second, and he lands the flips. But Carmelo uses Ricochet's own momentum against him to roll him up into a sneaky pin.
Ooh, it's so good.
And he wins.
It was so good.
And I wasn't mad about it.
No.
Like
You couldn't lose with this match.
I hate dirty finishes like that. Like it feels.
But the thing was, is that it
feels
wasn't even
weak to me.
dirty.
It wasn't, but it feels weak to me usually.
Well,
right?
because it's never done right.
Right, but that one made sense to me
It was
because
flawless.
like Ricochet was kind of starting to fall forward.
As if he was just going to roll out of the way and continue on.
And so Carmelo just used his momentum against him. So it made sense to me.
so good.
I gave this a 4.5.
4.5 immediately.
Yeah, it was really, really good. Definitely, I think it was my match of the night.
Absolutely.
Which always scares me when match of the night is the first one.
You were very wary after
Yeah.
that. You were like, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
And I had the opposite effect because I guess I was the mark for this one. And I was like, it's only going to get better.
Well, I think David's lack of optimism is rubbing off on me just a little bit, just because I was like, nope, too good to be true.
And then she
Too good to be
reminded
true.
me what match was next. And then you know that scene in Mary Poppins where they come down from the ceiling and they go, oh, that's sad. And then that's what happened because I remembered who is going to be in the match.
That's not the next match. That was just a preview for that match, thankfully.
Oh, that's right, because we were like, they're going to do that next right after. Okay, yes,
Yeah.
you're right.
I didn't specifically tell you not to be optimistic. I told you
Yeah, cover your tracks.
hope is a mistake. I remember that very
That
specifically.
is someone who savors
Okay.
strongly of bitterness.
Okay, fair. I mean, who are we talking to? Look at the material. But it's fine. You make sure we quote him correctly. So our next match is the for the unified tag team titles.
Yes.
So,
My order was wrong.
Which this is a fatal 4-way elimination tag match.
Very fun
Yes.
concept.
So we have the Creed brothers, who are the NXT champs, Gallus, Briggs and Jensen, who are the UK champs, and Pretty Deadly.
I had no idea who they were.
Oh, Pretty Deadly are great. So Pretty Deadly, for those who don't know, they are these. They're from the UK, and they are like they're not like skin and bones, but they're very tall and lanky.
They
guys.
are slinky.
Slinky. That's a good word for them. Yes, but they have some. They have some more muscle on them than they used to. Like when they
well,
first
that's
started
good.
in UK, they were very, very scrawny. But they have a whole like, oh God, what was the phrase that we used that night?
Blue Steel.
Blue
like their
Steel.
entire vibe
Yeah,
was Ben
Zoolander.
Stiller in Zoolander.
Yes, they had very much have a Zoolander vibe.
If they had powdered their lips, that would have been it.
Exactly. But yeah, I thought it was really interesting with this because the whole purpose of this pay-per-view or this takeover was to combine NXT and NXT UK, which a lot of people are kind of on the fence about whether they like it or not, because you have a lot of people who are very loyal to UK.
I mean, it makes sense. I mean, there's not a lot of opportunity over there, so that to have that taken away, because then now making all the wrestlers come over here, viewers come over here to see pay-per-views, to see things live.
Yeah.
I can get that. That's hard. Like,
Well, and
it's a plane ticket on top of tickets, that's a lot.
A lot of people also feel, who are over in the UK, that WWE pretty much killed the UK indie scene.
Yeah,
Because
definitely.
by creating NXT UK, they brought in pretty much any indie darling that they could find.
Yeah.
And a lot of independent promotions in the UK went out of business. So a lot of people who are fans of that are rightly pissed about this right now.
Well, of course.
Because you basically took all of their talent, so they had to close their doors. And then now you're just going to dismantle what you created and then keep the people that you like and then let go of the people that you don't.
And just spare change.
It is a little hairy when you get in the weeds of it.
Yeah.
So what the plan is, from what I've heard, is they are going to rebrand it and call it NXT Europe, which makes more sense to me because it's not just UK talent.
Exactly.
Because you had Walter, who is now Gunter. You have Ilya Dragunov. You have
Man, that man is crazy.
you have Miko Satomura, who was in this takeover, like who's from Japan. Like you have all these people who are from other parts of the world.
Yeah.
So by calling it NXT Europe, I think it kind of encompasses a lot more of the talent that's represented. So that I agree with. I just think that they kind of have just completely shut down UK because
Hunter's got some big steps to climb.
yeah,
To
and I
help.
think it was just like, we're just gonna clean slate it and call it a day.
But if it was anyone else, I wouldn't think it could be done.
Yeah,
But
I think it's
with
gonna
it-
take a minute.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
They've got a
because-
lot of rebuilding and trust to form again.
Yeah, so that was the whole point of this pay-per-view.
Yes.
Was to do that. So we're unifying all of the titles. So that's why we have 2 title holders in this one match, because whoever wins this match is going to win the whole thing.
And the one cynical part of me was nervous because what was the incentive then to have the wrestlers who came from NXT UK retain titles? Because I thought that was the one cynical thing that I had thought, the one,
Which you're
iffy.
not wrong.
Exactly. And most
Yeah.
people assumed that as well. Like, I mean, if this had been a couple years ago, full Vince power, that is what would have happened. That
Well-
would have been a scorch and burn tactic, essentially.
When you think about it, we'll get into
we'll get
it
into
later. So I really liked that this was elimination, but I honestly thought that Gallus was going to take this.
You did.
I was like, you know what? If they're going to let any UK talent win, it's going to be Gallus, because they've been here on US soil the longest.
Yes.
And they've gotten more exposure, so people know in the US who they are, because that was a lot of problem with UK. Nobody watched it.
Yeah, like I
Because
knew enough to get
Yeah.
by, truthfully, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there was just so much other content. Like I never even got to really, I mean, of course I watched the Dragunov and Walter fight, but that
Of
was
course.
because it was on not normal NXT, but you know what I mean?
Well,
like,
it was everything that
it was
you
on
know.
US NXT. And so
Everything you know about anyone from UK is because they came over and did
Exactly.
something on NXT.
like Kaylee Ray, Piper Niven, you know, main people like Dragunov, Gunter, like Walter, his name's Walter. Like I know main people like that, but I didn't know any tag teams whatsoever. So
Yeah.
coming into this one, I was like, I'm excited to see what happens.
Yeah.
And I didn't have a guess to who would win this one at all.
Well, and I think that this one ended up being more fun than I thought it was going to
Oh,
be.
yeah.
Just because again, full disclosure, audience, we have not watched NXT since
No,
for a while. And
We have some hearts to heal.
I've tried to.
We don't want to open up too fast.
It's true. We've been burned and we need just some time to heal. But
and our fifis.
and our fifis. But I've been watching it a little bit and trying to catch back up, and there is some immediate difference. It's
mean-
not huge, but it's small, and you could see in this pay-per-view like some of it. But like when we stopped watching, I hated Brooks and Jensen.
You did.
I was like, this is upsetting to me. Like, you're making a caricature of my people.
This was bad
Like,
Southern.
it was cringy.
It was awful.
All we did was drink in a bar and get into fights and talk like this. And it was
JBBJ, also that in
fake.
itself is still kind of a little iffy to me. I'm just going to go ahead and say that one.
JBBJ. Yeah, they tried to make that work. And I'm like,
that's no.
you're trying to lean too hard into the 1835 bracket. You know what I mean? Like, you're trying to appeal to them so hard. And I'm like,
Oh, here it is.
Exactly.
Ooh, look at it.
it's the BJ, come get it. Like, I don't know. Like, it really kind of was just really awkward and weird.
Come again. Oh my God.
But I was really surprised with them. Like, they were really good. And when I saw that they had won the UK title, I was like, okay, that's really weird.
I also really loved the bartender because they made her a person.
Fallon
And then
Henley.
Fallon Henley is a great name. It's about as Southern as you can get without it being trashy with a Lynn or a
Were you about to say Ray?
No.
You were about to say Ray.
No.
She was about to say Ray, David.
No. Our AE is very different than what yours is, and yours is pretty.
I will be over here.
How dare you? We're not getting into this.
Oh,
But yeah, I thought they did a really good job. They were the first ones eliminated, shockingly.
You were floored.
I was, because
You
they
were upset.
They were the UK champs.
And then, boom.
Yeah, I thought they would have at least made it like through the first round,
I mean,
but apparently not.
If we're gonna be real, my first assumption was the Blue Steel Boys.
Oh yeah, and they ended up winning the whole damn thing.
Like what?
Yeah, so Pretty Deadly goes over in this because, and honestly, this was kind of what made the match for me.
Yes.
Because it was all right. Like, it was okay.
There were good spots.
Yeah,
but
I mean
there's-
nothing memorable.
Yes, verbatim. What I was going to say was I
Yeah.
don't remember a certain spot where this happened and this happened and
But basically what, like, brought this to the finish of this was at the beginning of the match, you saw Roderick Strong, who is the leader of the Diamond Mine now because they have cut that group to filth.
yeah,
Like,
they're just trying to scrap anything together with that group.
once
and it's
they
just,
released
oh.
Malcolm Bivens, I feel like they were like, well, what do y'all want us to do now? You know, like how
You already took away.
like how are we supposed to do anything without this mouthpiece? Like they were relying on him to pretty much get this group over, and he was the only one doing it. And then now all of a sudden they're like, yeah, we're gonna take your like 3 of your members and we're gonna replace them with new people, and then we're gonna take your mouthpiece and make you do it on your own.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, Roderick Strong is not a leader of a faction. He never was a leader of a faction. Even when he was in Undisputed Era, he was the last one to come in. And
He was kind of thrown in
I literally
there.
was like, don't give him the mic. Do not give Roderick the mic. Just please don't. Just pass it over. Oh, God, they're giving him the mic.
Oh, God, it's in his hands. No!
Like, it was just not, he never did good. And I still don't think he does well. I really don't. And
You know what? This was his best role.
what, being in the ambulance?
Being down on the concrete. I believed that.
So we cut to the NXT parking lot, which obviously you should never be in the NXT parking lot. People get shot. People get kidnapped.
If this is your first time listening, this is what you need to take away for any cut scene. Just be escorted with somebody to your car.
Even then, it's probably not safe. Just
assume something horrible will happen to you or whoever is with you.
just stay in the building. Just live there.
It's
just
fine.
live in the building.
They have enough room. It's fine.
So Roderick Strong gets attacked.
Brutally.
I mean,
The blood packet work was great on that one.
I thought someone got shot. It looked like 2 bullet wounds in his stomach.
There's like pools,
Yeah.
right on his, right above his heart, and then one was near his liver and spleen.
And it looked like he wasn't breathing. So I'll give
That's
him
what
that.
I'm saying. It was his best job.
Yeah. So they lift him, take him to the hospital, and Diamond Mine's like, okay, we gotta focus.
We can't think about Roderick.
It's because it's this is the
But
Diamond
who's-
Mine.
Oh,
Yeah, you figured
Ting
it
ting.
out, didn't you?
Ting ting.
Yeah. So
Ting ting.
Damon Kemp, who is the newest member of the Diamond Mine, was hyping them up backstage and saying, "Guys, we can't focus on this right now. We gotta represent the Diamond Mine.
we got to
It's about
unify
us."
the titles.
Exactly, because that's more
ours.
important than our dead leader, right?
Who is clearly dead.
Which only in wrestling world would a title be more important than your
Than your
friend going to the hospital.
You're
But okay. So
Oh, it makes perfect sense.
we get to the final 2, and it's the Creed brothers and Pretty Deadly. And Damon Kemp, the ref,
What a combo.
the ref has been knocked out at this point.
Oh, no.
And so then Damon Kemp comes in with a chair, and he goes up to one of the Creed brothers and is like, "Yeah, man, get him. Let's get him.
Let's go."
And then he puts the chair down, and he's ushering him forward, being like, "No, you can get him. Let's go get him and beat him up." And then he picks the chair up, and it looks like he's going to go hit one of the Pretty Deadly guys.
But no.
But then he hits Julius Creed in the back.
Oh, so satisfying.
And the crowd goes insane because I did not realize how over the Creed brothers were
Oh, yeah.
until we watched this.
It's weird because
Yeah.
I remember that was one of the last things that we watched where they came in and we were kind of really nervous because they looked really lunky and hunky, but couldn't really other than just being big meaty men
slapping meats.
slapping meats. But I still, you brought that up again last night and talked about their names, and I still can't get over it.
Yeah. So the names of the
David,
Creed,
do you know them?
The names of the Creed brothers are Brutus and Julius. So guess who's turning on one another?
Guess what? Obvious foreshadowing.
But it wasn't one of them who turned on the other. It was the other guy.
That's the best part.
Yeah, so that plants the seed, I think.
Oh, if his name was Caius, that would have been awesome.
That would have been great.
Dang.
Any of the other names from Caesar, that would have been awesome.
Listen, I'm sure they only retained so much from high school English.
That's true. Which I
They're
don't,
we can't get too deep into this, guys. They're not going to get this.
I don't know if anyone outside of anyone who has a theater degree would put that together.
And that's the thing. It's
Yeah.
The guys in creative are
There's one.
We're so
there's
smart.
One theater mark in that room that's guys, you don't get it, but the payoff for this is gonna be insane.
it's amazing. You don't understand yet.
Hey, don't sell the creative writing majors short.
Oh,
Or
okay.
the English majors.
Fair. I'll give that credit. But so he hits him in the back with the chair, and
Crowd goes wild.
what was awesome though, which I don't know if you saw this or not, but Damon Kemp, after he hits them with the chair, he slides out of the ring, and then his face just completely goes back to normal.
Yeah.
And then he goes to the ref and is like, ref, like, you need to get back in the ring. Like, it's okay.
Like, he picks him up.
He
like,
picks him up and puts him back in. Like, he's trying to help him.
like, wake up, man. It's going to be okay.
I was like, I have not seen that level of acting on NXT in a while. And it was
Yeah.
very refreshing.
And I loved, I keep calling them the Blue Steel Boys because I'm only going to
That's
think
fine.
that. I'm working on it. I'm
Yeah.
bad with names, guys.
You're fine.
But the look on their faces in the middle of the ring when he's like helping this ref get up, he's like his eyes could
They've
pop
seen everything.
out.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, is this happening? Oh, this is happening. It's like, oh, this is going to happen right now.
Yeah, because they saw the whole progression of that.
Oh, yeah.
They watched the entire thing. So
because they were about to get attacked, or so they thought.
So they get the pin, and Pretty Deadly is the new unified tag champs.
Yay!
And I'm fine with it. Like it was good. I gave this a 3.5. Like it was.
Yeah,
It was good.
I would say 3, but 3.5 is good.
Well, because I mean, the ending was just really, really good.
That was a good, nice
Sometimes
little-
if you win me over if the ending is really, really solid. So
A good cherry on top for that 0.5.
yeah. So now we have the women's title match. It's a triple threat with Miko Satomura, who's the UK champ, Blair Davenport, and Mandy Rose, who's the NXT champ. So I was not into this at all.
Not at all.
At all. And
It's-
I was actually shocked that this was not the semi-main.
But
Because-
I'm kind of glad.
Oh, I'm glad it wasn't either, but I think they knew it.
Look,
You know?
sometimes you gotta know how to market your stuff.
I know,
So,
but it sucks that like the highest women's
yeah.
championship is not your main or not your semi-main.
Yeah.
I understand if this batch of the roster is not ready to have a women's main event on a takeover. I understand that. We are way past the Sasha and Bailey days.
Yeah.
And the Becky and Charlotte days. Like we're not there yet, and I don't know if we will be for a while.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Triple H works with Mandy Rose in particular.
I will say there were a lot less crotch shots.
Yeah, there was only one pan up.
There was only one creepy pan up, and I was like, okay.
Let's move on.
But it was kind of blurry, right?
So only on the bottom half, and then it clears up completely on her boobies
right, which
because everyone likes boobies.
I'm like, whatever, it's fine. I
It's
guess I'll take
boobies.
my victories when I can. But
You get a blurry vagina. Be happy. Be satisfied.
we have so many clippable quotes from this show that I'm just surprised that our intro is not just David clipping all of our like ridiculous quotes.
He's writing down the.
I'm just saying, you really could make an entire intro with just our inappropriate stuff that we say out of context. But yeah, I feel like I'm just going to skip to the finish of this one because it was clunky.
I mean-
it was not good at all. I mean, Miko Satomura was really the only standout because Mandy, I'm sorry, I don't care
No.
who says it, she is not good.
Dogs.
Like she is not. I'm sorry. Like she's just not.
And we have no reason to be sorry because we've been saying this for years, and this proved it. Because this is what I brought up after this match is that because with Ricochet and with Carmelo's match, you couldn't tell. Like it felt like one of Free Reign's fights, like choreographed enough, but looks like it's happening in the moment.
Sure.
And then you get to this, and it looks like they just were like, "Oh, okay, Mako."
Yeah.
Mako. Okay, I didn't want to say Miko. Mako is the one that's clearly calling the shots, but she's at a caliber that these other Davenport's good.
She wasn't really there either.
But I don't want to give that to her because I don't know if that was because of the emanating crap that Mandy was just shoving off into this. But I think we were also just so distracted by the fact that she was going to fly out of that top 4 different times.
Yeah.
And it was, maybe that's what it was. Maybe that's why she wasn't into it as much, but it was bad.
You can't keep coming up for excuses as to why she sucks.
But even then, it's like, I don't want to see that. I know that a lot of the other people in this company, like our friend group, Dogs wants to see her boobs. But
I mean, it's fine if people want to. I just don't think that should be the focus of my wrestling
yes.
match. We're way past that at this point.
I mean, no,
but
I get too mad.
But what I feel like what happened was you had Blair Davenport and Satomura were communicating just fine.
They were fine.
And
when Mandy was out of the picture,
they worked great. And I could have seen a singles match with the two of them. And
I'd like that.
And that has happened on UK a bunch, which is why I think they have worked really well together.
Throw in Kaylee Ray in there, and that'd be a really fun match.
Well, Satomura was the one who beat Kaylee Ray.
I know.
Right?
That's why I thought it would be a really fun dynamic.
Yes.
To then be like, ooh.
Exactly. But then when you had the spots when it was the three of them together in the ring, it was very evident. Like there was one point where Satomura was doing the kicks to both of them.
Oh, gosh.
And when she kicked Blair, she would really sell it.
Yeah.
And be all on the floor and then like barely get back up before she kicks her again, right? Like, which is what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And then when she would kick Mandy, she would kind of lean backwards and then pop right back up, you
Boing.
know? And I'm like,
Boing.
I understand if you want to no-sell certain things, but like you can't no-sell the whole match.
You
just
also can't no-sell if your other person who's also taking those same kicks is reacting.
That's true.
Unless you are a literal brick.
Yeah.
Which you're not, maybe.
Well, and I mean, the finish on this was a little weird to me.
A little wonky.
So you have Satomura who hits the Scorpio Rising onto Blair, right? And she goes for the pin. And then before she goes for the pin, Mandy runs out of nowhere with a running knee and then pins Satomura and wins. Which fine, that can be a good finish if you have people that didn't make it so muddy, right? Like it looked like Satomura was waiting for Mandy to run in before she made the pin versus like her going for the pin and then Mandy just comes out of nowhere and hits her in the face.
There were moments throughout the match of that.
Oh, yeah.
And there was one part in the match where she had to move Mandy Rose out of the spot.
She did. There was a spot where Blair was up in the corner and she was supposed to jump onto Satomura, but Mandy was in the way, so it is clear. Camera angle was unfortunate for this one.
Very
because
bad.
It should have been on the other side, but it wasn't. It was hard facing camera, and you could see Satomura just push Mandy out of the way.
Get out of the way.
And was like, "Let me take the spot."
Like
pushes her out of the way, and then Blair jumps. And I'm like, y'all,
that's
pretty bad. But I mean, I gave this a 3. And I feel like I'm being a little generous with it, but
I could almost go 2.
Yeah,
but
I didn't want to go full 2 because it wasn't a complete disaster. It was just like a semi-disaster. It was definitely the worst match of the night, for sure.
we can give Mandy a 2 then.
Oh, sure. And
Yes.
then the other 2 brought it up
Give
to a 3.
to a 3.
Yeah.
That's fair.
So now we're to our semi-main. We are just like rolling through this card.
Sorry, guys.
So we have the women's tag match, which is Katana Chance and Kaden Carter versus Nikki ASH and Piper Niven. And I was shocked about this one too, because Nikki and Piper just came out of nowhere like last week.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, we're going to challenge for the tag titles." And I'm like, "Okay, like that could make sense, right?" But to me, like, even though I knew, I kind of had it in the back of my mind that Ricochet really couldn't win.
Yeah.
Because he's still active on Raw, right?
I hope that he comes back here.
That would be cool,
I
but
he
I don't know if
thrives.
he's gonna.
Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on Raw right now, so it may benefit him to do that. Same with Nikki and Piper.
Yes.
But with this one, it was kind of a foregone conclusion to me, because this was the first defense for Kaden and Katana, and I was just like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that they're going to do this. But I think what it did was make Kaden and Katana look way better.
Absolutely.
Way better than they have ever looked. Because you had those two veterans who were able to help them.
Yeah.
But I think really the toxic attraction of it all didn't need to happen.
No,
when it did happen, they made it work. Because like going back through the match, like again, it's good. Like it's one that you can go back and watch, like if you're into women's wrestling. But like they had this really cool camera angle when Toxic Attraction ran in.
Yes, that was awesome. And
For one, Toxic Attraction was late.
they were.
They were so late because Piper has, I think it's Katana up on the top rope.
Yeah, and they're just
she's like wailing on her and literally does the
did
whole
the
surprise
whole
look like,
turn.
oh my God, who? Like, who?
They're
like,
not.
are they,
I was
wait,
looking at nothing.
Like she literally does like 3 different
It's so
turns.
bad.
And then finally the camera cuts to her. Like it's on Piper for an exorbitant
I mean, a
time.
good 30, 40
It is
seconds.
so bad.
It's oof.
And then all of a sudden they like run in like guns blazing like, like we're here. But that took a really long time.
Yes.
But they run in, they cause a distraction, lure Nikki out of the ring.
Yeah.
And that sets up for Kaden and Katana to do their finisher, which it sets up this awesome camera angle where you have Nikki and Toxic Attraction fighting in the forefront, and then in the background you have like kind of a little bit out of focus, but like you can still see like what's going on.
Exactly.
You see Kaden and Katana do their combo finisher, and it's a 450 splash with a reverse neck breaker on the bottom of it.
Ooh.
Sorry, I keep hitting the stand. I'm just getting really into
She's
this.
a very handsy, not like that, hand talking person. That sounds dumb when I say hands talking person.
I talk with my hands.
Yes.
Yeah. Or I'm handsy. You can, whichever one you want. But yeah, so they have, they set up that 450 neck breaker combination on Piper. So they literally it's really cool. And so that was worth it for me.
Well, and I also hope they give that camera guy a good little extra bonus there for that one, because if it was on purpose, great. If it wasn't, even better.
Oh, absolutely. And, Chance and Carter retain with the Toxic Attraction interference, but I didn't see it as Toxic Attraction aligning with Kaden and Katana. It was more of like, this is our turf, and you're from a different show, and you're not going to win our title. That's kind of what I took from that. And if that's what they were hoping for, I think that's a good story.
I won't lie, I was nervous when they came out, because what I had been taught in the past few months prior to all of this new change was that was their Deus Ex Machina.
Oh, yeah, like this is what...
right, yahtzee. Like, they just throw in somebody to make something else happen and for chicanery to happen. So I was nervous when I saw him. And then I was like, but they have no tie to this. Like, it's not like it's... Like, Mandy's not in this match, So that's what intrigued me when they came out, and I watched it. And I think you're right. It makes a better story if it's more so, get off of our... Like, this is not... Like, you don't even go here.
Right.
Like, get out.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, it was really good, and I'm not mad about the finish. I think this probably sets up another match with Toxic Attraction.
Definitely.
And Kaden and Katana, so I think...
Good forward motion there.
Yeah, I think it's good. I mean, I gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and I think that the tie-in with Nikki and Piper really worked, and Piper is starting to go back to the old Piper.
They are still calling her by the name that we shan't mention, but her vibe is coming back. She's got the yellow plaid.
Yeah.
She's got her leather jacket with the pins on it coming back. She came in like a badass. And
she's not as glittery anymore.
Nikki even came in darker apparel too, which I thought was nice.
Well, apparently she has turned heel recently. So now that's why her and Piper have aligned.
Nice.
Because Piper is also heel now. So
I could see that.
Yeah. But yeah. Our last match of the night.
Oh man.
Is our unified NXT championship match with Braun Breaker versus Tyler Bate.
Oh.
So you did not know anything about Tyler Bate going into this match.
Not a thing. I had said upon first introduction of just staring at this man, he looked like, oh, what did I say, Shelby? He looked like, no, I should have written it down.
I know, I don't remember what
it was
you
a
said
good
either.
combination of people.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was.
That's
but
okay.
He has a knockoff Charlie Dunham look to him.
Oh, sure.
But
Yeah.
that's not who I said. But anyway, but I loved the intro that he had before he came out. It was really nice to, he walked through like, as if it was almost like, not a hall of mirrors, but like an exhibit where he's walking down and he's watching everybody's moment of becoming NXT UK champion. And he's almost like, it's not just him then reveling in the moment when he gets to his spot, but he's remembering and honoring all of the other champions who have had that title.
Yeah.
And it was, I mean, a little, on the nose, but at the same time, it was really beautiful. And I liked seeing that. And then we had the moment with Ilya and Walter, and it was,
Yeah, and I think that's super important that they did that, because
Absolutely.
then it shows that it still was a very important brand.
Absolutely.
Even though it didn't get as much coverage as it probably should have.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish that they would have done that for the women's title too.
Yeah.
But to be honest, there really weren't very many women
No.
champions. You had Rhea, and then you had Kaylee, and then you had Miko.
And that's
it.
Yeah.
Because Rhea was the first one. Dang. So
Daggum, really?
yeah. I think I'm right on that. But yeah, that would have been kind of cool just to see both of them.
Yeah, like
mirrored
all of
like
them
that.
mixed
but
in.
I did enjoy that kind of walkthrough, because he walked from from screen to screen
Yeah.
and watched. I thought that, because I've been watching Tyler Bate from the beginning, because he is the first and the last NXT UK champion.
That's good closure.
Which I think is pretty cool. I do think that it was a little weird how he just became UK champion without any pomp and circumstance,
Yeah.
because Ilya Dragunov is injured at the moment.
Love
So
that
he had to
crazy son of a
vacate the
bitch.
title because he won it off of Walter. Which that was a huge moment,
That-
because Walter had it for literally forever. I want
match.
to say it was like over 800 days, which is the longest.
811?
Yeah.
810? Something stupid like that?
Was the longest reigning WWE champion in history.
Yeah.
Yeah.
History.
Which I wish that they would add that to his accolade
He
now.
needs it.
But
Whatever.
that's neither here nor there.
Well, that was Walter. That wasn't Gunther.
I don't like that logic.
It's stupid.
They're starting to break that logic,
They are.
though.
They are.
They're starting to
But my immediate vile reaction is, that's
Right.
what they would say.
starting to break the metaverse. But I feel like this match was a really good send-off of the title, but also a really good representation of just both of them in general, because I think Braun has really improved and is actually a really, really good worker.
Yeah.
And has become a leader, I think.
He's made good strides. I also thought it was interesting that they finally mentioned his father.
Yeah, that he was a Steiner.
It's like, oh, look at that.
We
What a
could
concept.
actually talk about our lineage now.
Oh.
But yeah, so I thought it was really good. It was, I don't know, it was a little sad.
Yeah.
I don't know why I kind of felt sad, because it's not like we're never going to see Tyler Bate again, because he did show up on NXT the next week. So it's not like he's gone. And it's not like the people who lost are gone.
Well-
It just feels like they kind of are.
But yeah, I mean, what they once were is gone.
Yeah.
It's a part of, like after you have something really awesome, like a really awesome weekend, afterwards it's like, oh, like
Exactly.
you miss it a little bit.
Yeah,
You had fun in the moment and it was awesome and you'll always remember it, but it's still kind of that bittersweet moment of going, oh, it's time to find new things.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like with this match, they both really brought it.
Absolutely.
Braun Spears.
I was just gonna say that spear made me actually gag.
Insane.
Oh,
Like there was the one that was the finisher, because it was interesting that a spear was a finisher.
but his are gnarly, dude.
It makes sense that his
I
are,
believed it.
but it was after like a full. I mean, all of these matches went over 15 minutes at least.
Yes.
Each match was given. I mean, I think this one was like 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And I think on the breakdown on Wikipedia, it was like all of them were at least 15 minutes long.
See?
Which I really appreciate, especially when it was a nice kind of departure from when you have a match card like AEW that has 15 matches on it, so you really can only give like about 5 minutes, if that, to each match, right? But with this, when you had 5, you were able to give everybody some breathing room and give them time to actually tell a story. And I feel like with all of these matches, even the women's match that wasn't really that great, you still had a little bit of a story there, because you had Blair and Satomura's history, and then you had the Mandy part of it all, who was like, okay, I am this part of NXT and that's the best, right? Maybe a weak story, but it is a story, right? So you had, with this one, you had 2 brands coming together, but 2 totally different styles going against each other, and they were able to work. So the finish on this, Tyler Bate does this really cool moment where he ricochets off of the ropes. And you know how Kyle O'Reilly has that like really spastic kind of like, I'm going to ball up into the rope and then shoot out?
So he hits his back on the middle rope.
Yeah.
And then bounces. But Bate does this other really cool move.
He does it forward.
And he does it like he hits his shoulders.
Yeah, so he tucks
and
his
bounces
head,
back.
tucks his head under, puts his arms out like to his sides, and then hits the rope on the back part of his neck. And where his shoulders and back kind of are.
I would have fallen right through that stupid ring.
Mm-hmm. It's like a tiny little part, and he hits it, and it just ricochets him back and turns him around to do a lariat. Is what the setup is supposed to be.
It's crazy.
But he goes to do that because he's done that a couple of times and hit the lariat. This time he goes for it the last time, and Breaker is there immediately and hits him with a spear in midair and just like divides him in half.
I mean, he's dead. He is DED dead.
And
Roderick Strong dead.
Exactly. That's our new reference. He is Roderick Strong dead. I love it.
Oh, man.
But Breaker wins. And now he is the unified champion.
And I'm not mad about it, because he's put forth the work for it. I see the improvement he's made in this short amount of time. And because I was worried. I was like, oh, man, like if he's going to keep it again, like, oh, man. But that match was great. And I didn't care who won. They both worked their butts off. And it was great.
I am hoping that we don't get into a Roman situation with him.
I agree.
I agree, because he has beaten.
I see the mix of Brock and Roman sprinkling in on him.
Yeah,
and he's great. Don't get me wrong, but I think he could. Yeah, it's dangerously close.
Yeah, so I hope that we don't go in that direction.
Yeah,
that's my only concern.
No, you and I agree on that one.
If I'd be okay with seeing him and Tyler Bate go at it again, I would be happy to see Carmelo drop the North American title and go for that title. Those are really the only 2 that come to my mind right now.
I know.
They need to bulk up their men's division, actually.
It's funny.
They do, because everyone's associated with something right now.
I know. Everybody's in a group, faction, collective.
I mean, you have Cameron, but Cameron has gone for that title, and there needs to be some more time in between when he, from then and when he does it again.
He needs to hit the lottery again.
Yeah.
He needs to invest in some stonks.
There was something that happened with him and Tony D'Angelo during this.
That was weird.
This pay-per-view. They tried to do these little vignettes, and they are getting better.
They are.
They're not as cringy as they used to be, but I still think those need a little bit of work.
Tony D'Angelo is already kind of like Like he's
way to,
hey, I'm walking here.
He's
like,
outstayed
kinda,
his welcome for me.
Yeah,
I think he needs to shake it up just a little bit.
like he's the Don of NXT. It's like, okay, cool, but like if you're the Don, you're actually running things, and like you're never on screen, so you're not actually. Like,
he needs a faction.
Yeah.
If you're a Don, you
well,
need
he
a faction.
had a group, but then one of the other guys just left.
Right, that's true.
So, it was good to see Wesley though.
Yeah, so
That was nice to see
they're
him.
setting up him with
Speaking of
Dunham,
random.
of Dunham, who used to
Oh
be
yeah, that sounded scary. Like, how do you prepare for him?
I forget who, Jordan Devlin.
Oh.
Yeah, so they repackaged him into McDonough, I think is his name now.
Ooh.
And
Sounds
apparently
Scottish.
he's crazy.
Oh, I like a
So-
good Mad Scott.
Yes. So that'll be interesting to see going forward. But that's the end of the show.
That's it, guys.
We go out with Tyler Bate, presenting Braun Breaker with both of the belts, and then we go off the air. I gave the whole show a 4.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
I think this
and
is
the
a-
best we've done so far.
Great building block.
Yeah.
This was enough to still keep, quote, what had like the older NXT 2.0, but still mesh in new elements that you can see that are then going to go on to create new and better habits for the company. And I'm excited, and it's given me hope again to see and be excited about what the next product will be.
Oh, sure. And I think this is the first in this era that we'll see storylines actually manifest after takeovers.
See, it made me think this choice was quantity over quality.
Yeah.
And I think that made the
reverse that.
I'm sorry, quality over the quantity.
Yeah.
Excuse me. My brain totally was like, yes. And then my mouth said the other thing. But yeah, just the quality of the stories in each match really made a difference.
Okay, but did anything crazy happen during the post-show interview?
Get out of here.
No, unfortunately, no.
Then it's fair to Midland.
Yeah, it's true. If you can't have someone just completely shake up your entire company after the show, then what's the point?
That guy's a piece of...
Again, I'm going to convince dogs we're going to have a whole show where we can just talk about it.
Absolutely.
It needs to be at least 2 or 3 weeks from now because
I'm sure there's going to be more stuff every hour.
More stuff has come out in the past 12 hours than I would have ever thought possible. But anyway, who is your ignorant slut of NXT Worlds Collide?
It's a little obvious, but definitely Mandy Rose. Or at least her bra.
Oh, yeah. Let's go with her
Let's
top.
just go with the stupid American flag top that she had.
America.
Yeah, because clearly you have to show that she's the NXT U.S. champion, and we can only do that by her having American flag Ray-Bans and American flaggy boobs. What?
You're right. She should just get an American flag tattooed on her neck instead.
All right, that was good. Zing! That's funny.
Well, mine was Toxic Attraction.
Yeah?
Because they couldn't even make their one spot of the night. They literally had to make Piper do a triple take to see if they were coming down the ramp or not.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so they had one job.
Yeah,
They had one job and they couldn't do it.
definitely.
So who's your EST?
Ricochet.
Damn it, mine was too.
Well, you know what? Then I'm actually gonna. If you want Ricochet, I'll give it to Carmelo.
Okay.
I really like seeing the because that was it was going to go to them that whole match
For sure.
But especially with seeing Carmelo be able to catch up that fast, the ability that they had to read each other in the ring, to communicate, to work effectively, the speed and the accuracy that these men had in this match. I'm serious, y'all. Watch it. It's mind-blowing. I don't know how any of them don't have vertigo. The flips that they do. Oh, and then, of course, they had the really awesome, Superman punch onto the ground after doing, 7 flips in the air and missing each other. It was awesome. It was like 90s Power Ranger feel.
Again, it not only did it remind me of the old NXT, but it gave me PWG vibes.
Yeah.
You know, it gave me, you know, I mean, Ricochet was a standout in PWG, but like...
And Lucha Underground, too. He was incredible in that. He was a baby in that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
But yeah, so that's our show for tonight, guys. Feel like we did that in like record time.
I bet we did.
For us, I'm sure, because we can definitely get winded. So, David, I know that we're in the middle of wrestling world
of the big
right
recording
now.
sessions.
But what do we have coming up next?
All right. Well, Monday night, Dogs and Chris covered AEW All Out and spent a lot of time talking about the CM Punk controversy.
I mean,
dude,
who isn't?
I listened to that episode. I don't know if I've ever seen them, besides the one where Charles Holmes was a guest.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that's the longest I've ever seen them go.
Right.
It's like an hour and a half, right?
Man.
Oh, they've gone longer.
Oh, well, okay. But still, it felt pretty long.
But so that was Monday. Tonight's Wednesday. Tomorrow night, you guys have got Rewind, and you're going to be talking about Clash at the Castle.
Yes, I'm very excited about that.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
So moving forward, I'm going to need all of these wrestling organizations to not do 3 pay-per-views in one fucking weekend ever again.
I do have some news. They did announce at the end of this one when the next NXT one is.
It might be a minute before we cover that one.
Well, no, we're not doing that on the weekend of my wedding.
I'll pack you guys some mics. I'll put them in your gift bag.
I'm in my full dress sitting down. Hey, y'all.
During the reception, we're going to sit down. Because AEW has one that's full gear that weekend.
Yeah.
I'll be setting up mics and slinging XLR cables as the dinners are being served.
I love it.
That would be fun, but we're not going to do that.
No,
It'll be fun.
No AEW.
But do we have any? I know your Perfect 10s are coming up soon,
yes,
right?
my 4 months of Perfect 10s start next week on Long Walk Talks. We're going to be kicking off my Perfect 10 discussions with RoboCop, one of my all-time favorite movies.
Really?
Yes. So I'm going to watch that for the millionth time this weekend, and we'll talk about it sometime next week. And then I think after that, everyone's going to be all wrestled out.
You say that.
Yeah,
but I'm pretty sure the next WWE pay-per-view is Extreme Rules.
Ooh, that's right.
Yeah.
Which I've yet to see an Extreme Rules that was in any way extreme.
They were a little lackluster, weren't they?
Lately, no. But again, with this new regime, I have like a little bit of hope. So we'll see.
Okay.
Blood packets everywhere.
One can hope.
Ladders. Other scary items.
Okay. We get it.
Mostly
That's
ladders.
what they advertised, and then it was...
Yeah, I know.
Shelby, if people want to reach out to you online, follow you online, argue with you, where can they do that at?
If they want to argue with me, they're probably not going to get very far with this one. If you want to follow me personally, you can do that at SlayAllRay on Instagram. If you want to follow This Is a Takeover, you can do that on Instagram at This Is a Takeover and Twitter at This_pod. And for Long Walk Podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's just Long Walk Podcast.
And don't forget about at Hansy Shelby.
That should be my Twitter handle. That's what it's going to be. I'm going to get a Twitter just so I can have that.
At Hansy Shelby.
Or your OnlyFans. Gina, if people want to follow you online, where can people do that at?
Man, I deserve that. I'm gonna get my butt kicked for that one.
It's fine.
I'm still only on Instagram because Twitter is the worst. But you can follow me at Broadway_baby1218. I thought about making another account for something else, but I have not done it. So if I change my mind, I'll let you know.
Stay tuned, everyone.
I'm trying to think about doing one for Noir, but...
Oh my God, your cat. You're going to be that cat person.
Wait.
She's beautiful. She's a model.
Okay.
wait until after you're married, so it'll be the full package.
Oh
Like,
my goodness.
There you go.
Oh, BB.
and if you would like to follow me online, argue with me online, the CM Punk situation is 100% a work, and you're not going to convince me otherwise. You can do that on Instagram.
No, we can't start this fight right now. No.
DB Hensley. If you want to keep up with Long Walk Productions, you can visit us online at longwalk.us or search for Long Walk Productions and Long Walk Podcasts on Facebook to see more of our original work or hear past episodes that are no longer streaming. You can follow the YouTube links in the show notes. Thank you for listening, and if you enjoy this show or any of the shows on the Long Walk Podcast Network, please make sure to leave us a rating and a review on whatever platform you are listening on.
Thank you, David. And for This Is a Takeover, I'm Shelby Ray Patterson.
And I'm Gina Belmont.
And you don't have to be called up to the main roster. You're doing fine where you're at.